In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. The Word was God. The Word was with God in the beginning. Through him all things were made, and without him nothing was made that has been made. In him was life, and that life was the light of men. The light shines in darkness, but the darkness cannot recognize it. The true light, who gives light to everyone, was coming into the world. He was in the world, and though the world was there through him, the world didn't even notice. He came to that which was his own, but his own did not receive him. Even in his own land and among his own people, he wasn't wanted. But to those who believed him, to those who accepted him, to those who believed he was how he claimed to do what he said, he gave the right to become children of God. And the Word became flesh that is dwelling among us. The Word became human, lived here on earth among us. The Word became flesh and blood and moved into the neighborhood. The Word became flesh and blood and moved into the neighborhood. The Word became flesh and blood and moved into the neighborhood. He is here. Right here in this room, in your heart. He is near, nearer than breath, heartbeat, nearer than you are to you, closer than second chance or next opportunity, closer than tonight or yesterday. He is real, more real than touch, see, hear, smell, taste, more real than reality. He is our reality, more real than joy, pain, sorrow, or the love of being in love. He is present like space, wind, time, silence, night. He is waiting like creation, like words on the tip of tongue, like songs that have yet to be sung. He is beauty and oranges and blues in every hue, in every shade. Sunset and sunrise whisper his name. He is holy, cannot be touched, explained, like sweet seconds of prayer, like grandmother on knees, wood floor bare. He is old hymns, the extending of limbs, stretched across trees, stripes to heal disease. He is Son, distinctly three, distinctly one, the only wise, the only resurrector of lives. He is the King, and no earthly throne can house him. No amount of elegant words can espouse him. He is moments and voice, power of choice in word and deed, in fruit and seed, nailed hands, nailed feet, innocent wounds that bleed. He is believe. He is all. He is call and purpose. Everything we can sacrifice, he's worth it and more, much more. Our good deeds are mere pennies. We'll never even the score. He is behold and wow. He is who, what, when, why, how. He's the one who puts on the show. He's the one that we come to see. He is soul's cry and sinners plea. He is the epitome that no one can light a candle to, will come within a 1,000,000-foot pole of. He is above. He is a father's love, maker of ways of earth and wind, ancient of days, has no fear. Have no fear, our God is here. Have no fear, the one who loves us is here. Have no fear, the one who rescues is here. Have no fear, our God is here. What up, Jubilee?
Jubilee.
So, Diggy and I are very happy to be here with you all. We're going to share with you a little bit about how rhythm and hip hop and the club teach us about God. So, Pink wrote a song called If God is a DJ, and I thought that was like a really cool idea, because I was like, man, if this is really what's gonna happen when we get to heaven, I definitely want to go. Like, I kind of wanted to go before that, but if I'm gonna get to heaven and God's there DJing, I really, really want to go. I mean, what if we get past like the pearly gates and God says, well done, good and faithful servant, go party, and there you are in the middle of heaven and God is there DJing. behind this massive set of turntables, and this is God we're talking about. I mean, he's got all the songs ever written in all of time, right? And there he is behind his turntables with these like really dope headphones, these Beats by Jehovah, and he'll like lean over like this and like scratch and mix, and every now and then he'll scratch in holy, 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 because the Bible says that God is so amazing, we're gonna spend eternity saying those three words a bunch of times, holy, holy, holy. And I mean, if God's DJing, the angels gotta be breakdancing, right? I mean, they gotta be rocking like the freshest Adidas Jordan Asics joints you ever seen in your entire life. And I don't know how they breakdance with the wings, but it doesn't matter. It's heaven, right? And I'm like, yo, that's where I wanna go. That's the heaven I wanna be at, right? But if God is really a DJ, then that means actually God isn't just DJing in heaven, right? God is also DJing on earth, right? And that's the part where it gets a little tricky. And I know nobody at Jubilee parties. I know you guys never go to parties. You probably like go to Bible study all the time. But like I went to the party, right? And when you go to the party, they do this thing called holding the line, right? Where they try to make it look like the club is super exciting. They put everybody outside in the cold. They don't care it's -3. They don't care that you only got on. Anyway, so when you waiting out there and you hear the music in the back, you hear the so you're like, oh man, I gotta get inside. Like I gotta get into the party, right? But the problem with the DJ and the party is like once you get in, the DJ be spinning your song. Like he playing your song. Like when I say your song, like you know what it is. You know what your joint is when your song is coming on and you hear the DJ like flipping the record. Like he's about to go to like a separate situation. You're like, don't do this, DJ. Don't flip away from my song. But as soon as you get comfortable, there he go. The whole club with their arms up in the air like, oh man. Which is exactly what I do to God most of the time when he changes the plans on me. Because I'm always like, listen, God, I'm pretty smart. I've already written out my plans for myself. I've already decided this is the major I'm going to have. This is the person I will marry. These are the types of kids we have. They won't be bad like other people's kids, etc. I have already written this out for you, God. All you got to do is sign the bottom. Then you don't have to put any more energy on me. You can spend that on my cousin because she really needs Jesus. But that's not how it works, right? It doesn't quite work like that. Like if you're saying you really want to follow Jesus, you really want to let God be the DJ, you got to let him be in control of the songs, right? So then that made me do a little DJ research. Like, what in the world is DJing? I mean, how did that come into hip-hop culture, right? Because hip-hop's got 5 facets: beatboxing, breakdancing, graffiti, MCing, and DJing, right? And so DJing was born in the, late 70s, which doesn't make anybody old that might have been born around that time. So anyway, DJing was born around this time in hip-hop, right? This is the end of disco era, the beginning of what we now know as hip-hop, right? So hip-hop DJs are like, I'm going to take a record player, right? And the record right here, I'm going to spin what's called the break. And the break of the record was when the singers would lean back from the mic and the musicians would just jam out during that time, right? This is how we come up with the term break dancers, because the dancers were waiting for the musical break. They were leaning up against the wall waiting for the DJ to spin the break. But the hip-hop DJ says, I can't just have one turntable. I probably ought to have 2. That way I can mix the break from this record with the break from that record, and I can mix and master them until I make something new and cool, right? And I believe there's scriptural proof for the fact that God is a DJ, because the Bible says in Romans 8:28, for all things work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to his with purpose. That says to me, God is still DJing, right? He's taking this break, your crazy family, your job, your friends, all your successes, your failures, that really sad thing that happened, right? All the gifts he gave you, and he's mixing and mastering and scratching until he makes something beautiful of you. We wanted to close our time with you by sharing a retelling that we put together, a retelling of the Jesus story through hip hop. Do I have any hip hop lovers in the building? Hip hop heads in the building? That's cool.
Yeah, I'm good.
So a lot of my friends, they tell me when they go to the mountains, they feel close to God. They tell me when they sit outside on the grass, they feel close to God. And I don't like outside like that. So I just feel close to bugs when I'm outside, and it doesn't make me think of God at all. It makes me think of a lot of things that are not godly, so it's not my thing. But I have felt close to God on a dance floor. I have felt close to God standing next to the DJ booth. I have felt close to God watching the MC freestyle. And my brother used to tell me that when he listened to Tupac, made him feel close to God. He may or may not have smoked weed before he told me that. So I'm not telling you listen to Tupac and to make you feel close to God. Sometimes other things influence us. But I think a lot about my brother. I think a lot about my friends that they might know Kendrick Lamar, right? They might know Drake. They might know all the lyrics to every song Wale's ever written. But they don't know Jesus. And maybe you're here tonight. Maybe you're here investigating. Maybe you came because you thought there was going to be some free food. Maybe you came because there's a girl or a guy here and you was like, I can be Christian for the weekend for her. I can at least do that. But if you're here and you haven't made that choice about who you're going to follow, right? About unwrapping what Anthony Bradley told us is the greatest gift. Obdigi and I want to close by telling you that's the best decision you could ever make in your life, right? To follow this Jesus. And if you're here and you're like, I'm on board with Jesus, I hang with him, I'm cool with that. I hope you'll hear this poem and think, how can you use the gifts that God has given you to translate this message, this light, to make it go into the night? And this week, Obdigi and I released our first project as a duo. Our name as a duo is Soul Graffiti. That's S-O-L Graffiti, because we want God to take the art we make and put it on abandoned places and put it in the places that have been rejected. And we chose the S-O-L Graffiti because we want the art we make to shine of the light of God. So thank y'all for having us. This last poem is inspired a little bit by the first verses I started with by John 1. So if I could pick up in hip-hop language from where John left off, this is what I'd say. Jesus came in the brand of his own name, wearing swaddling clothes, love, mercy, and a manger. 3 wise men discovered him. They had no idea they were leading the world to worship him. He told the angels to hold it down, decided he was going down to a small town called Bethlehem to grow and consume the stomach of a virgin whose womb would birth the man that would save the earth, the one who would give me my worth. He did more in 3 years than most of us do in 30. He fed 5,000 with 2 fish, 5 loaves. He told 51 stories to save millions of souls. He mentored 12 disciples to be betrayed by one, denied by one, doubted by one. He was the one to take on all of our mistakes, plus the weight of all of our secret and known sin, plus the weight of a 110-pound cross. That was after they beat him, slapped him, lashed him. He paid the cost. How could an innocent man withstand death but lethal rejection, injecting into his veins our sinfulness, our selfishness, just so we could breathe in his righteousness? See, I've been watching you smoke blunts and meditate, read the Bible and any other spiritual text you can get your hands on. You are searching for answers to a bunch of philosophical questions like, what is life and who or what is God? Do we die? And if we die, where do we go? And I've been waiting to tell you about this cat named Jesus who has all the answers. I've been trying to think of a way to describe him to you because he was a man. He is God. He came to earth and lived, died, then lived again. This one man started a revolution called Christianity. Christianity, which has now been watered down to Bible toting and t-shirt wearing and keychains that say, what would Jesus do? And I think if Jesus had walked earth in our time, maybe the Source or Vibe would have landed his post-resurrection interview and the cover would say, real life after death, which is more than Tupac or Biggie could do, because all eyes would be on him and they treat him like Jay-Z, asking him, so what is the secret to your success? He'd tell him, it's just one word, death. Death on a cross, life after death, and love. Yes, he would have talked about love. He has this way of looking into your eyes and knowing your whole life story without you even saying a word, because that's just the type of cool cat he is. And that's what I've been trying to tell you. He is. He didn't just come to speak, prophesy, and die. He's the only one who looked death in the face, told death holler back, and moved on without other thoughts. Truth is, I want you to know him. The sweeter truth is he wants to know you too.